Did you ever look at how incompetent some people are at handling their money? Or maybe sometimes you feel that you don't know enough to handle your own money. And then you ask yourself, why didn't they teach me this in school? So it turns out that on today's show, I'm very happy to have the guy who asked that question, Cary Siegel, the author of Why Didn't They Teach Me This in School? How you doing, Cary?
Great, Doug. How are you doing today?
Doing okay. Now your book is packed with information. In fact, the subtitle is the 99 Personal Money Management Principles to Live On. 99 is a whole lot. Let's focus down a little bit. Could you give me maybe the top one or two?
Sure. You know, there's actually three that I would say are very, very important. If you do them, that it's impossible to get behind in terms of financially in your life. And quickly, the first one is always live below your means. And I say that because our society, our generation wants everything now. We can't wait to afford it. Start off living below your means. And I don't mean just a bit below your means. Make sure you have some extra money to save and invest. It doesn't mean you have to live badly. It just means you have to prioritize your wants and needs. The second one that I would put in it, and this is interesting because only 5% of people do this. Develop a true written budget and track and analyze it every single month. People think it's painful, but it's so darn simple. The concept is easy. Okay, more money has to come in every month than goes out. You have to track it. You have to analyze it. Spend a half an hour every month doing this. I guarantee you that you will end up, again, ahead of the game, because if you watch it, it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. The final one, I would say, if you group the three together, that helps work this out. I learned, it was the only thing I think I learned. I went to a pretty good high school, pretty good college, and a very good program for my MBA. And the only thing I got from the whole thing was something an accounting professor said in class. And he said, look, you're going to make some money when you come out of here. What I want you to do is every time you get a pay increase, take half of that increase, live a little bit better, but take the other half of that increase and then save and invest it. And it was such an easy concept, and I'm so glad I went to that class. If you think about it, you were living on your old salary before the raise. You can have the best of both worlds. Live a little bit better and save a little bit. Just don't spend it all. So if you do those three things, always live below your means, develop a written budget, follow it, analyze it, and then save half of every increase that you get over time. You're amazed at how well you do financially, and it's impossible to get behind if you do that.
Okay, so by definition, what you're describing sounds good. Let's focus on number two for a second, the keeping a budget. I'll tell you why I'm asking, because I talk about this a lot in my day job as a financial advisor, and a lot of the clients that I have are people who are actually doing okay. They earn good salaries, they're able to save, they put money into their pension plans, and they say, Doug, I'm not in debt, I don't have credit card debt, but I don't want to deal with the budget. I anyway live below my means. Do you think in that case, a person like that or a couple like that needs to keep a budget?
I do. I mean, that's great that happens just because it normally doesn't. I mean, it's a vast minority of people that would occur to. Yeah, you need to do it because you know what? If you don't and something hits you, and they can give you examples when it happened, 7-8 years ago. I know many people who were doing that same exact thing, and then they realized, whoa, wait a second, what do I do now? I've never had to track this. I've never had to do it. You have to get into that habit so that, boy, if something does happen, you're prepared for it. And you do know, for example, you have emergency funds, and you make sure that they're allocated properly.
I get, saying the concept of a habit, I think, is very important. It's certainly a big issue, what we've spoken about on the show here. But I also think it's important as a means to teach the next generation. I think, Cary, probably you and me and our generation might be the last one that's living at or above our parents. But before that, and following us, I'm sorry to say I think there's been a huge increase in the income level of people over the past couple of generations, from our grandparents to our parents to us. But it's not obvious that's going to happen in the future. So based on what you're saying, people who are successful at handling their own money should consider keeping the budget just so that they teach their kids how to do it as well.
Absolutely. And that's the interesting thing is I talk to a lot of teenagers and I talk to a lot of people in their 20s, and they were not taught this. My title of my book is actually a little bit, I'll call it false, because it's not just the teaching in school, it's the teaching by the parents. So when I talk to schools, and I make sure people know this, it's not the schools are failing us, yes, but parents are failing their children because you know what? I can tell you in my neighborhood, during the financial crisis, 20% of the homes at least went into foreclosure or short sales. At the same time, the parents were still spending money like there was no tomorrow, because I knew it because these kids are on my Facebook and I see what they're doing that weekend and what's going on, and they're going on trips, they're doing this. They're not being taught by their parents, you know what, we made a mistake and here's what happened and here's how you have to plan for the future so that it doesn't happen to you. We're protecting our kids too much.
We're speaking with Cary Siegel. He wrote the book, Why Didn't They Teach Me This in School? He also, by the way, retired at the age of 45, a rather successful guy. Not only has got a great book, but he's really put his money where his mouth is and proven that people who are very careful with how they handle their money, and not only those who win the lottery, but people who just do the right things in the right order, can in fact be very successful. Now, Cary, I know you talk more than just about tactics, and you tried to break up your book into life lessons. Can you talk to me a little bit about some of these life lessons, and really why is this something that's so important to change someone's life?
Sure. I break into life lessons because if you look at my book, try to do it as simply as possible for people so that it's not, people that are different than us, like people who understand finance, it's scary because they don't think it's numbers, it's all those things that they don't understand. But there's simple life lessons that'll make you aware and make sure that you do the right things. I'll give you one. One of them that I put in my book is spend just 1 hour each week learning about personal finance. Now, to you say, well, yeah, of course. No, there's not many people that do that. And when I say that, if you add up the hours, you say, you know what, tell somebody who's 18, 19, 20, or someone who's even 40. I've taught people who are in their 60s how to actually manage their money a lot better than they're doing. But if you talk to them and say, look, if you think about it, you spend 1 hour a week, you're spending an average 20-year-old is spending 9 hours a day on their cell phone in some way, shape, or form. A lot of it's on the internet, a lot of it's on different things. Spend 1 hour a week of that learning about money. Talk to an uncle who's rich, who's wealthy, and they made it. How did they do it? 1 hour a week is 52 hours a year. In 10 years, at 520 hours, that you're better off than the person next to you or that you would have been if you didn't do that. So just spend that 1 hour. That's one life lesson. Another one would be, this is something that I'm sure you've heard before and people say, but it's real. How many people do you know made their millions by winning the lottery or by inventing something overnight or by going to a casino and winning the money?
Right, a fraction of a percent.
Overnight.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. That's not the way. That's not a strategy for getting rich. That's just the 1 in a million that they.
Right, but what happens, or people don't realize, it happens over time. You can enjoy yourself while you're doing it, but if you have that thought process and that strategy of, you know what, you're going to be a save-aholic, not a spend-aholic in terms of how you manage your money, but you can still enjoy to make the trade-offs. You live a very, very good life, but in the process, you're doing well financially.
Cary, I found that I say these sort of things too to people, and I try to cajole them and encourage them. And some people are happy to listen to it, and some people are less happy to listen to it. Now, I know you teach this all over the place, but I'd like to ask you, because I understand that you once gave a presentation to over 100 adult entertainers in one of the largest clubs in the U.S., and there's got to be a story there. And please don't forget, this is a family show. So
yeah, no.
What was that all about?
And it was a family, and the way it happened was totally family-oriented. The owner of the club, which is I believe it's the largest or in the top 3 in the country, was at her brother's house, who's a neurosurgeon, and she couldn't sleep in the middle of the night and picked up the book and read it and said, boy, this would help the people that work at my club tremendously. She gave me a call and said, hey, would you come and do this? Would you speak at my club? She closed the club for a Saturday afternoon. She had a buffet for all the workers, and I sat there and I talked to them about it. And if you think about it, what they said to me was, we make a lot of money, and you know what? We blow it all. And I talked to somebody, the person who actually, not the owner, but another individual who managed sort of the people who worked there. She used to be an adult entertainer, one of the top ones in the country. They flew her from place to place. She was making hundreds of thousands of dollars, but she was spending it all. And she said this is the best thing for them and the best thing for anybody at any age, because it just gives them things to think about. And that's the whole idea. Think about, Doug, when you have your radio show, if you're fortunate enough, if somebody remembers one thing, not even from one radio show, let's say from the multitude of it, that they actually carry through in their life, then you've been successful and you've been happy. That's what excites me. It's so interesting. But it was when you say family, it was very nice people. It was just, to me, amazing. There's actually an article on it on my website, which is sort of fun.
All right. So quite a story. I've had a rather eclectic bunch of people in my audience as well, but never one as interesting as that. If they were adult entertainers, I'm sure they were, guessing, they were more women than men. Do you find that the advice that you give in your book is different or between men and women?
No, you know what? What's interesting, I wrote it for my kids, my teenage kids, and 3 of them are women now, and 2 of them are I guess they're men, they're 15-year-old boys now. And if you read my book, it's universal for whoever it is. I even try to, I even write it that way where, you make sure it's not one way or the other. Because anybody can really take the advice and run with it. And the letters and the inquiries I get are probably 50-50. I've got different people over the country, and I've got professors and high school students, high school teachers also teaching it. That's the same thing. It's not skewed either way.
All right. So I think that I do think it's true. I think the wisdom that people are going to get from what you're doing applies across the board. And I'm just going to bring it back to what you said in the beginning, which is you can't spend more than you have or more than you earn. So living below your means, if that's the number one takeaway that goes along with your other great ideas, I think that people are going to benefit a lot. Cary, we're just about out of time, but in the last few seconds, tell us, how can people follow you, follow your work, and get a copy of the book?
You know what? You can do a couple things. One, you can go to my website, and my website you can get to by my name, but that's harder to spell than why didn't they teach me this in school.com. And you can go on there, and my books are sold pretty much anywhere on the internet, usually through Amazon is the best way to do that. And just go on Amazon and put in the name and the title, and hopefully it'd be nice if you read it, because it's I find it very interesting because I wrote it.
There you go. We will put a link to that to your site as well as the Amazon page at the show notes of today's show at goldsteinongelt.com. Cary, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Doug. Anytime.
You've been listening to the Goldstein on Gelt Show with money maven Doug Goldstein. Doug's weekly radio show is heard around the world, but if you miss it, you can download the podcast at www.goldsteinongelt.com. The Goldstein on Gelt Show gives you up-to-date financial ideas so you can get on the path to financial freedom. If you'd like your questions answered on the air or off, send Doug an email to doug@profile-financial.com. It's your money for your future, so join Doug every week to build your wealth on the Goldstein on Gelt Show.